Hello, it's BREXIT doing another video. Lovely and early in the morning. It's quite nice actually. Pleasant driving around. It's the tickle. This tickle's in the house. So thoughts today. Brexit's come up, and the biggest issue is that politicians and business don't really work. They need to divide up what the politicians can deal with and they can't deal with. So business decisions and stuff in the policy they can't deal with. Obviously, they're demonstrating. Some of them are getting paid to be saboteurs. Some of them are getting paid to resign, throw in the rag, throw in the towel. People like George Soros are sticking cash in their pockets. It's disgusting. It's going on, and otherwise you wouldn't just chuck in because of over something like a tantrum. You know, if you ever worked for companies and stuff, you don't sort of throw in the towel over jack shit. It just doesn't make sense. You know, if someone doesn't agree with the boss's decision, they don't say, "Well, I don't like that. I'm going to resign if I don't get what I want." Who are you to blackmail me? I'm the boss. You know, it's quite obvious. That's how it should work. Just trying to get speed up here. Yeah, I go one side of town to the other. It's going to be pretty hectic. So what you do is you get a consultant firm into play who aren't to negotiate the deal. They're just to get it done. They've got a contract to resolve things between companies and so on. And then you do it in a several tier process. So you analyse. So the borders, all right, we need to put something in place for the borders. It's what the people agreed on in the first place, that they wanted some controls around the border, better improved movement of people. It's just a case of a visa process. It's not like, oh, well, you know, if you're from this background, you can't come in, sort of thing. No. It's a very simple process. That I was also polling today in the UK. I've got to do that. I'm probably going to go Brexit party, and I just want to get the Brexit sorted. So that's why I used to have loyalties to parties, but there's no point because they don't always work in favour for yourself. They work in favour of themselves, and politicians don't always hang around. They move on and stuff like that. It's like Theresa May. I didn't really know anything until she sort of jumped into the limelight, taking on as being a leader. So, but at least someone like Nigel Farage has a business background, so he's not, you know, you don't have to like the person. It's the fact he could get certain things done. Even so, he doesn't need to be the man to get it done. He just knows who should get it done, and you know, I think that's best. You get someone that trades with business, someone that understands how Europe economy works, how the UK economy works, and then you put the infrastructure in place. I would say to a firm, what's the trade agreement currently for your firm? How does it work between us and Europe and yourselves? If they're in Europe, France, whatever, you know. And then we say, okay, well, how can we improve on this? It's an opportunity to improve trade. How do we have something quite just like a tongue out? Some girl stuck a tongue out. I don't know what that was about. It's like, yeah, this is one of the things. It must be the energy. I'm attracted to this energy you're giving off. And some people are saying about firms. The reason that firms are closing down is there's no certainty with the politicians. They were going to close down anyway because the economy's slowing down for them. So what you do is you say, right, steel, you know, if our industry's not asking for steel so much, why aren't we going to China? Why don't you turn around and say, hey, we've got these guys, we've got a whole steel works here, you're building your infrastructure, you're expanding your infrastructure, how can we get involved? You've got too many corrupt bankers and other things causing us, holding things back. They don't want the world to change. And then you've got people above them who don't really care about money at all, and are, or just like playing games with people's lives. We don't want people to be individuals. We don't want the slaves to revolt. We want them to keep them under the system. you know, there's a breaking point where people need to be free from the crap, basically. They don't need to be trapped anymore. They want to be able to breathe and move and develop and be held back by weak governments and stuff. Get on, I don't know, you bloody back wheel's stopping me. I'll chop it off. Get through that gap. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, you just need a really direct way of working. And it's possible. Yeah, that's fine, cool. Okay, cheers. Oh, these guys are some sort of emergency services or something. Oh, this is polling, nothing to do with polling, I'll run them over. Get out of the road, it's my road, I paid for it. So, yeah, I'm in a good, my vibration's good, the energy's good. So yeah, you put a process in, you get a consultant in who can get the job done, who know, because politicians don't understand the paperwork, they can read it and they say, well, it does say this and it does say that, and they always argue both sides of the story, so you're not going to get anything direct. And let's put it back to referendum. No, actually what you need to do is complete the deal, because you can't do it. I tell you what, rather than resign, you're fired. It's as simple as that. I'd come in and say, right, what have you done for us, the people? Right, you're fired. Let's get Alan Sugar in there. Make him accountable. Say, hey, what's happened? Where are you going with this? Right, have you achieved this? How much money do you earn? You know, and then you've got to look at it and think, well, if you spent 100 and something thousand on this MP, and all he's done is argued for and against, and actually delivered zero on the ground, it's not worth it. He's a poor investment. Get him the fuck out. That's what I do. Sack his ass. That's what you do. You know, all it is loads of white people, or if it is anybody that's ethnic in the crowd, just listen to their accent. They all speak the same. They must just put a mask on. To the Speaker of the Parliament, so I would just like to ask this, and do you think it's valuable? They all talk a bit like that, so it's here. It's just a joke, really. It's a circus. So get in place a movement. See what happens if you had the referendum, right? So Brexit takes place. You set the firm up, you set somebody to deal directly that you paid them. You give them a timeline, and because politicians don't work to timelines, as we can see, they keep stretching it out because they are basically talking is their business, and the longer that lasts, the more money they make, and that's how it works. Oh, I go back to the people. Oh, we go back to the companies. Oh, because the longer it takes, the more money you get. That's how you function. You function on communication only. You're not interested in action. You're not someone who rolls up their sleeve and gets things done. They go and ask someone else to do it. Oh, there seems to be a problem here. Can you look into it for me and get back to me? And then I can tell them, and they can tell me, and then we can keep talking about the problem. And then we're going to say, oh no, but it's money. Money's the problem, see? And change it, and just keep spinning and spinning. Like this talk about getting rid of Theresa May. Oh, what a lot of crap. Who else is going to do the job? And the only person, I tell you what, even though they say democracy the only person that Theresa May it should be a case of standing down. She would, in essence, choose the next leader, which might sound crazy, but she'll choose her successor because she wants someone she can hand over to. If you're kind of doing a job, it's what happens in firms. They don't vote in the next manager. They know who can do the job, and they put them into a position of power to get on and do it. And they're held by the contract. They do a contract. And this is the problem. You've got politicians who are stroke business people, and it's a mess. So that's a kind of a chunk of the rant. And yeah, it's all about money. So they've postponed the process. Now we've got MEPs that have been elected to go into Europe, or are in the process of today when we vote them in, and they're going to argue for their jobs because they get paid. It's just greedy and sick people that need to be removed from society. And that's the only way. You have to kind of take this thing. And then the thing is, though, you can have kind of a mixture of, you have your democracy or socialist, communist. They're not evils. They need to be used in moderation. It's an understanding. It's like psychology, you know. If you study criminology, it doesn't mean you're bloody evil. You understand the process where things go wrong in people's minds. And then you can implement certain tools and understandings in psychology to get things done. And that's what it is, pragmatism. So I think it's very easy, very resolvable. I'd say, elect me, get me in, I'll get it sorted. I just say, this is what I want. I say, they go, oh no, we need to vote. No, this is what we want. This is what has been. It's not debatable. You can have the debate before the decision. It's gone. It's now a business. And if they say, well, no, go to debate. I said, it's not democracy, it's business. Business doesn't run the same pattern of democracy. It follows government guidelines and so on. But people don't sit around asking each other what they should do. They do their job. They're workers. It's a time for a kind of work approach to it. Because it won't work otherwise. It won't work using bloody politicians. As I say, haven't got the skill set for the job. And you know, you could do it even better than that. You could say, right, well, you don't have to vote in a party to get the job done. What you could do is just get the right people around the table and say, right, this is the problem. How do we get it resolved? And then say, well, this is the timeline. You know, it's gone over. We want it done as ASAP, really, and just cut through the crap and get it moving. And I think you can quite easily. You just do it in phases. Often people get scaremongered in believing that if you vote for a change and a change begins, that you suddenly got to jump completely in the deep end. You can do it in stages and figure out the bits in the middle. It's what we're doing is we're being blackmailed, held to ransom. We've got these people that are like these highwaymen of Europe who are robbing us in and out. They're saying, you must buy our goods, you must have austerity measures, you must give your money, even though we're actually the only reason of Britain as well, because we're the financial capital of the world. We've got some real power, but whether that power is an extension of another power base, so it might be the Vatican, it could be other things in there. I don't think there is, though. There's always been a rivalry between Protestants and Catholics, and these arching controls the empire of the Queen, basically. So she's the Empress. She's got a hand in Australia. Any place that's got a flipping British flag added to their own flags. It's got the Commonwealth countries, all these other things. America, where either they're in allegiance or they're a company to the crown. They will never turn against the UK. They might argue points against them, but they're still loyal because they say, oh well, your ancestors. It's the Freemasonry connection. And I don't know how the Queen fits into the Freemasonry structure. She might be even more powerful. She's just behind the scenes. So it's the 36th degree. If you go up there, you'll probably find her at the top. Or she's probably rooted in the head of the Vril Society or something. Who knows? So it might be a lot higher up the system. So definitely. Yeah, let's slow down. How am I doing for time? Yeah, it's doing alright. I had a friend ask me about soulmates. And you can have more than one person that resonates similar to yourself. So we're moving on from Brexit. I can't think of anything else I want to say about Brexit, apart from maybe I'll write Theresa May or to give her advice or something, I don't know. Tell them what I want. This is what I want. I speak as a representative of the people. This is what I want. Bang, bang, bang. And just quickly, yeah, and a referendum, you know, at a later date we can review how the relationship's gone for the UK. But there's a global recession on, so if people are just saying, oh, the Brexit's done this, the Brexit's done that, did Brexit cause Catatonia to want to split from Spain? Did the Brexit cause issues in Greece that have gone under the table? Where is Greece now? What countries are suffering financially? What countries could benefit from a better relationship with Britain? And as I mentioned, like some of you were saying about coal mines, we could give a load of coal to Russia. We could get a load over there and, fight to get some cheap coal into the country. And there's also people, and then the other thing that holds trade back is stuff about the environment and global warming. Trees, the campaigns, you plant more trees, they are carbon absorbers. Throwing money at scientists won't get anything done. It's just another layer of politicians, people that talk about things, and then they ask the businesses. They come up with these kind of far out solutions. They overspend loads and loads of money on these people to look up these solutions, and then what happens is they don't do anything for ages. So just sat on the fence again. Nothing's getting done, and the problem's mounting. And it can't be reversed in the same way. You just need to increase the plants, basically. People need to put more plants in the houses. They absorb pollution, they absorb chemicals, they clear the air up. They have loads of multiple functions plants do. They're good for your brain. You can grow things you can eat. They're sort of rivals to some, you can have your peppers plant or whatever on your window. You can grow all sorts of things indoors. And I'm thinking, should I turn my bloody flat into some sort of haven or garden? It'd be like, should I put in some light bulbs that have natural daylight, and then put things in like the bathroom? Maybe I should have a energy saving light bulb in there. And where do I want to go? I'd like to cut across here, please. Get onto this road round the corner. Yeah, it's trying to dodge traffic. There's always the veins of the society clogging up with cars. And cars are the blood vessels. So yeah, when people are all separated into parts, unless there's something functionally pushing the machine. And it could be, this might sound out of there, people might like it. It could be because society's been over-feminised, and so they want to organise everything, keep organising. They just need someone to say, they need a patriarchal influence, just to say that this is, to keep them on track, basically. Because some people seek power, but they don't actually want to dispense from it. And true power is you release it, you've got to take it in, boom, let it out. Thinking of my routes to get there. We're not doing too bad. My next location. Yeah, you want to let go of energy and power. Anyway, I was going to go back to soulmates. So yeah, so that's that. Let's draw a line under Brexit. Otherwise my conversations bounce to and fro. Because another part of my brain's thinking about one thing and the other part's thinking about something else. So yeah, just what's not working, correct it. And with soulmates, people resonate with certain frequencies. You can consider them as soul family, soulmates, etc. An actual soulmate is work in progress, though. You can sever a relationship, like family. You should all resonate at similar frequency for a bit, but you don't always get along. Some people have deeper spiritual connections, and that's what people refer to in this soulmate construct. So there's lots of them out there, and you can form all sorts of different relationships, but be careful though, because don't get over caught up. Just because someone resonates similar to yourself doesn't necessarily mean they're good, or it doesn't set them in a particular climate. I mean, they might resonate, but then they might have a dark side, or they might be broken. I mean, that was a problem I had. I came across something broken, I tried to fix them. Or it could be that she's got indoctrinated with like feminist ideals, and it's okay to be feminist. But my version of feminist is not I'm against you. That you, I mean, if you're interested to protect women and support them, and you're a woman, that's great, you know, or further their development and see themselves as quite a unique part of the infrastructure of society. But it needs structure, so you can't, having no structure will cause some chaos, in essence, I think. Yeah, and realise that they're not the enemy. There's a lot of people who have that kind of have that thing. And yeah, so I'll go into something else in a minute. So I'm just sort of filling up the space on this video with thoughts. Yeah, I want to go into this next subject now. So yeah, there's lots of people anyway out there that you can resonate, and you can also make a mistake by over-investing in people that don't necessarily feel the same and other things. So you need to make sure that they share that kind of spiritual bonds. It's a bit like I'm trying to fix something myself, but it's not to fix the person. That was a mistake I made. I white knighted them, and it backfired. I mean, I draw a line under it. I just want to take them out, and I might just put, because if the feminist energy is to withdraw, maybe the masculine it's to project some dominance. So how you do that is you don't tell the person what you want from them. You present what there is I could offer them, and if they're not interested, then you lose nothing, and you just leave them in peace. But then they have to know that they had an opportunity to grow, had an opportunity to decide a fate or destiny, had an opportunity to resource someone who was offering support and love to them, and they chose not to because they thought you were bad news or something, or their independence or their ego in a way. And then you just leave that open offer. So look, if you do change your mind, it's here. I'm a real person, you can communicate with me. You know, don't get caught up with this idea of this society whereby we just switch on and off people. But different energy, I mean, going to the hypergamy stuff, that's why a lot of women have a broad base of friends, so they can pick and choose and sever ties. They might have a few close friends, but they all have functions, and you know, might go to certain support. That's why sort of like highly sought to have a gay friend if you're a woman, because they're kind of a resource. I'm going to cut time actually. I think of a shortcut. Yeah, they're sort of we're dropping out into there now. I want to go down the other way. Okay. Decisions. So yeah, so there's a different, like I say, the structure of society. Whether we choose to follow a path or not, there's kind of always like a star pulling us in a direction. So if you didn't want to be a woman and you was a woman, there'll always be an influence pulling that way. As far as you can run as far as you like from that construct, but it exists and it's there in your heaven, so you can't pull it away like a star, a guiding star. And it could be because you reject your parents, it could be because you were raised in a way that made you want to close down emotionally, but you need to grow and find your own true energy. It was never harmful, it was just things put in your way that caused all this pain and problems in your life. Wondering if I should, yeah, I'll go this way. To cut time where I can. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Anything else? Might as well move into the fasting. So, the other thing about hypergamy was things like Tinder and so on. It works towards that. People just visually showing themselves off as like a product. that's sometimes it just works in the system, I guess. This is what I am. People stop wanting to read about, and they just put things like, I fill my profile in later, and I want to be worshipped. Pictures like Instagram, you know, there's a lot of it's nice there's pictures on there, but what you're getting a lot of is just people wanting to get a fan base and to get admired, and that gives them a sense of power. Direction, good. So fasting, yeah, I mean I'm doing some mixture of cold treatments, and it seems like I'm burning a lot more fat. So it's because I'm utilising something else. So it's increasing the autophagy, it's increasing all these effects in my body by getting into some cold water or sleeping in a colder environment. I do have to get back into some warm covers, and I might have to extend my sleep period, because if you're burning calories you might not be sleeping properly or dreaming. So there's modes in dreams. I mean, I could wrap up extra warm, and by doing that the inflammation goes down because of cold air. So also things like you know, joint stiffness and stuff, it's not so bad in a cold environment. It's when you go into the warm environment, the thing is, if your body wants to inflame itself through inflammation, it will wait for the opportunity for that reaction to happen, not unless it's been switched off. It's a switch. And so there's certain tools you can bring to it, environmental tools. You can, interesting things you eat, there's some anti-inflammatory foods. There's what you drink. You don't need to drink so much, cut that down, because then the inflammation stores water, and as it's released back into the body, it's reabsorbed, and that's useful. But I can feel this like warm, even though I've had like a big cup of coffee earlier. I mean, that's probably keep me going for a big chunk of the day now. I have to look how busy I am, but I don't have to. I mean, basically, my body's saying what it wants, and I'm working with it. I'm not putting high demands on it, like I'm saying I'm not going to drink or eat for 2 days. You know, I've done experiments to look at that, but I'm also working a good 50 hours a week, so I don't have the luxury of just sort of switching off and saying I'm going to go sleep in the afternoon or evening. It doesn't. I have to take my breaks and rest periods when they're available. And then that way I've got to work around it. But you do want, I mean, I am doing a continuous this OMAD cycle. So yeah, I've had some coffee, and it did have some calories in it, but I don't think it's enough to break down the process at the moment, the ketosis that's going on, because I can feel it in my stomach. I can feel this warm sensation on the belly fat. It's like warm and cold. It's really weird. So I'm melting fat, and also people are saying you look thinner. Your stomach looks flatter. So I'm going down the right route. And then what you do, if you do top up your sugars, because sugars go into muscles, the glycogen from glucose that go into your muscles. So then what you do is you increase your demands in your muscles. So you just start doing your exercise, press ups, walking, whatever. And miserable fasts. You don't need to not have sugar. There's some ridiculous thing. What you need to do is adapt your body so that it's calorie efficient. Actually, that's what you want. Don't worry about fat adapted. You want your body to process other sugars and things more effectively. And so by removing it for yourself, like sweeteners, you know, if you had fat and sweeteners, you'd be absolutely messed up, because, well, you process the fat, but you're telling yourself, your body, that there's some type of sugar there. It's not. It doesn't really, you know, your body responds to it because it's similar to sugar, but it doesn't have the same yield. So you end up tanked up with insulin, and it's not so positive really for you. And you don't really want that. So yeah, so that's the bigger thing. Just I've seen somebody saying, "Oh, I'm happy when I'm fat, and I've had sugars, I look puffy in the face and stuff." You just keep playing with your diet, just keep changing it. Get into some cold water, do some exercise. Have a load of sugar, then go do some exercise. If shouldn't be going to the gym to lose weight. You should be going to the gym because you enjoy physical movement. You want to, I mean, you will get stronger and stuff, obviously. It's sculpture, it's body shaping. Why do you go to the gym? You know, if you're going to the gym as a torture or punishment method, then you're doing not right of you. You need to get that sorted. Is it effective what you're doing at the gym? Should you be blasting a lot of things, and then the rest of it's kind of like relaxation, recovery, social engagement, being physically active? You know, would you enjoy doing a sport more than you would be going to the gym? Maybe just playing squash with your mates, or doing something else, or going for a long walk with them. You know, go for a hike or something. There's infinite amounts of choices there. It's just knuckling down and figuring out, what do I really want, and then, you know, and be direct. So I mentioned before about sometimes it's like feminine over masculine. So if it's like, so we said to some woman, what do you actually want? It's a direct thing. That might sound like a very challenging to talk like that, but that's the point. You need to get to cut the time down, because you can just debate about exercise and stuff until you're blue in the face, but you need to be willing to do stuff to make it actually happen. And that might be the patriarchal energy, and women have patriarchal energy as well. They can speak their mind, and I'm not saying that's exactly what patriarchal energy is in that sense, the masculine, but yeah, quite capable of being direct, communicating their point in the less information, you know, removing, using a logical base rather than a reasoning base. I mean, some people, they have a kind of combination, like they might say, you know, that, and they might give you the alternative, or either that you do nothing. That's kind of the feminine and the masculine, you know. What are your other choices? You know, you kind of reasoning, you've added reasoning to logic, and other things like that. And so it's all good. Anyways, signing off for this lovely video, and thank you for listening, and I will speak to you soon.